so crucial that we feel the achdut, we feel the unity, we feel the closeness. We're not alone. Nobody should feel they're alone. Nobody should think they're different. You know, all the labels should be put aside. And I want to read to you, I took notes because I knew we'd be able to remember everything that they said. Just read to you what Mrs. Gedalia had mentioned. She had mentioned that she mentioned a Gemara that I actually want to look up. I mentioned it to you now. You probably know this from it, that there were 4 people that went into the Pardes, right? Into Gan Eden, right? Ben Zoma, Ben Azai, Rabbi Akiva, and I can't remember the first one. Remember? So one of them stayed.
Wasn't it Acher?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
And one of them stayed. He didn't want to leave. One of them, I believe, I don't remember what he said, but he said something about it, and I think he wanted to leave. And the really important one here that I wanted to mention was Rabbi Akiva, who says about him that he came b'shalom and he left b'shalom. So Rabbi Akiva was able to leave there. He nichnas b'shalom v'yatza b'shalom, because his whole re'iyah, his whole outlook on it was that he came in already thinking about the good of it. And it says about, she said that this teaches us that in whatever we're doing in life, we need courage and we need mamatz and we need effort, right? And that's what Rabbi Akiva did, that he went in with this courage and effort and the positivity, because everything about Rabbi Akiva that we know is that he was always looking at things at Tova. And she said that this about her son, that he went into the war with courage, with mamatz, that he has to do this. It's not even a choice. And this is what she was saying, that about him and about those who fell in war. It says that they are really kedoshim. They're really very much kedoshim. And her son's name was Yosef. And Yosef is one of the Ushpizim we know. She said one of the things that they did, listen to this from it, one of the things that they always did as a family, her husband always wanted to be Ole la Regel. And it says about those who went to do the Aliyat la Regel, those, it means going up to Yerushalayim, right? 3 times a year, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, we walk up to Yerushalayim, we bring gifts in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, but there's no Beis HaMikdash now. So people like to go to the Kotel, Chol HaMoed, right? We hear Birkat Kohanim. It says about Aliyat la Regel, it says, Riyat Pnei Hashem, liot chelek me'aklal, ve'ein prat. That when you go into Yerushalayim, you're no longer looking at yourself. You're a part of the klal. You're a part of the whole. It's not just the singular, right, individual. Now you're part of the whole. And so this family would walk to be mekayim the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel from Bet Shemesh to Yerushalayim. It's a 45-minute drive without traffic. And it took them about, she said, 9 hours. At a certain point, they got there and they took the train like to where the Kotel is, but when they got to Yerushalayim itself was 9 hours. Everyone's like, what? Literally, they walked 9 hours. It was a chavaya, it was an adventure, excitement for the kids to be able to do this. So you can imagine if this boy had such parents, what kind of a boy he was. And she said about him, his name is Yosef Malachi ben Dina, that he always wanted to be better. The Chayalim always wanted to be like Yosef. They said they always want to be like Yosef. And if something went wrong with someone or something in the Gedud, in the troop, they would say to them, Tiyu kmo Yosef, you should be like him. And when he would hear negative chatter, negative talk about things, he would get up and say, Slicha, this talk is not the kind of talk that's going to bring us to the Beis HaMikdash. Now, mind you, some of these Chayalim are not from. So they went to Google and research, what is it about the Beit HaMikdash? Like, what does he mean when he's saying that it's not going to be Mekarev the Beit HaMikdash? They didn't even know what the Beit HaMikdash was. Could you imagine? So they went and they researched to find out Like, why was it so important to Yosef? Why was he saying this to us? And they respected him because they cared about him. And this is what I took from this woman, such courage, such strength. She said, I know, and I knew at the time that what happened on October 7th is letova. I know that it's letova. That's what this woman said. She's a mother that lost a chayal. Could you imagine? I know it's letova. And she's saying this even now. She said, there's good in this. There's good in this. It's going to be good in this. We just don't understand it. We don't see it. And this is how she lives her life. She says that in everything that we do, we should always remember Mechayeh Metim. Hashem has the koach to revive the dead. So what are we worried about? When there's a loss, it's not forever. It's Hashem who's Mechayeh the Metim. This is what she said, and that's why we can look at it that it's going to be for the good, that we have to be mitzape to that. We have to be yearning for that. We have to believe in it. And we say it every single day. And something about Yosef, she said even when he was little, he was very pure. He would go and smell the baby, a newborn baby. You want to go smell a newborn baby because he knew this is a precious, pure new child. And she said at the age of 2, he would go up when they opened the pticha to the aron. He would go up to the aron and he would stare at it and he would be mesmerized. He could stand there for a few minutes. His father didn't bother him. He just left him there. He knew the second the aron's going to open, he would stand there. And especially, he said, when Simchat Torah, when you bring all the Sfarim out and they're dancing with it. And she says that she understands then why he was Zocheh to pass on Simchat Torah, the day that we celebrate the Torah, because he so much, since he was a little kid, appreciated what Torah was. So I just wanted to start with that, and I wanted to mention that one thing that we mentioned yesterday also in the tefillot, he actually said Mizmor Todah. After saying all the prayers, beseeching Hashem, we ended like we do here with Mizmor Todah. How can we end with Mizmor Todah if we're feeling the sadness, we're feeling the heaviness? Because there's so much still to be grateful for, and that we are in gratitude in advance for the good that's going to come about. And there's a lot of good also that came about now, and many of the families, even of the bereaved, are able to see it. We need to see it. We need to see it with the right kind of lenses, with the right kind of eye, with an ayin tovah. That Hashem really just wants good for us, and we really just don't understand. But we know that everything that Hashem does, what Rabbi Akiva taught us, is latovah, and we need to see that and say Mizmor Todah with tremendous kavanah, that we know that the Yeshua is coming and it's going to be latovah b'ezrat Hashem. So I don't want to go further. I want to welcome Frimet Yagod, who's going to give us a taste of how everything's going to be v'na'afochu. Because now we're going into Chodesh Adar Bet, which is the month that we celebrate Purim, and we're going to see v'na'afochu, how everything's going to be flipped around. And we want to see today, the title of her shir is Purim, is it really how it seems or how it appears? Thank you, Frimet, for being here. If you could unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you, Karen. It's always a schus to be here.
Schus is ours. Thank you.
The Purim's coming up. What are most people concerned about when it comes to Purim? You know, it's they have to get to Megillah reading. They want to make sure the Mashlayach Manus is done. Right, for the women, they want to make sure that the Suda is ready. Okay, so that's what we call the chitzonius of the mitzvah. Every mitzvah has its outer part and its inner part. The outer part is the actual halachas. The inner part is the meaning and the kavanah, the intent that we have for the mitzvah and the deep meaning of that mitzvah. So if we look at the Megillah really isn't as it seems. For case in point, let's talk about Hasach. Hasach was really Daniel. Hasach was the messenger between Mordechai and Esther. Medrash tells us he was really Daniel. And when Haman found out who he really was, he had him killed. So Hasach seemed like a courtier of the Persian government, the Persian kingdom, but yet really he was Daniel Hanavi. If we look at Esther herself, right? She went into the palace. She never revealed who she really was. Or she would have revealed if she was a Yid right away. And she didn't. She listened to Mordechai. When did it come out that she was really a Jew? At the end, when Haman was caught. So we have these different scenarios in the Megillah that tell us that really Purim isn't, that certain parts of Purim aren't exactly the way they look to the naked eye. One of the customs of Purim is to get dressed up. Costumes. Why are we getting in costumes? One of the reasons is because Purim looks like a yontif where everything looks like it's very natural. Right? We know the story of Purim took over 12 years, right? One political stage after the other, until, of course, came to Esther doing the two feasts, and which by the second feast, that Haman was exposed. Now that looks like it's very natural, right? That could happen in any political situation. But really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there was a hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu here, right? Okay. The costume, therefore, is to remind us that, yes, it looks like on the outside, the person is dressed up, right? Whatever that person looks like. If the person looks like Mordechai, right? But really, underneath, that person is not Mordechai. It's somebody else, right? The person wants to dress up as Esther, but really underneath, it's not Esther, it's somebody else, right? There's this element of things don't look exactly the way they appear. So one of the things about Purim is it looks like it's a very natural type of yontif, right? Okay, so we had a Yeshua, we had HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved us, and now we have these 4 mitzvahs. What do we have? We have you read the Megillah, you give your Matanas Lev Yonim, the special charity that's given on Purim, you prepare the Mishlech Manos, the special baskets, and of course you have a Mishnah, you have a special Suda for Purim. But let's really talk about the inner part, the pneumius of Purim. So Purim really is a day of Kedusha and a day of Anes Ratzon. It's a day of tremendous, tremendous holiness, and it's also a special day of davening. If you'll notice in many communities that there is, in the afternoon for the fathers and the mothers, there's something called Avos Sabonim, because it's a tremendous mitzvah to sit and learn Torah on Purim, and it brings a very special zechus, a very special merit to all of Am Yisrael. It's also a time of tremendous davening. There's a minhag among different communities where the women say a whole Sefer Tehillim in the afternoon of Purim, right? Because why? It's an Nes Yotzin. It's a very special time for davening. HaKadosh Baruch Hu really hears our tefillas. So this yontif, it looks like 25 hours of, okay, so, we did our halachas, we have our mishnah at the end, right? But it's anything but that. It's not just those mitzvahs, it's what is the power of that day? The power of that day is coming to levels of special kedusha and coming to levels of davening, because it's a time to tap in to this tremendous time that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us to daven. Furthermore, something else. We have a halacha called livasume, right? Although in some communities they say you should drink, but really in many communities, livasume is not about getting drunk. It's about coming to a level of amun and bitachon where there's no difference between Oror Haman and Baruch Mordechai. Right? Cursing, that Haman should be cursed and Mordechai should be blessed. Why is that? because a person comes to such a level of emun and bitachon that there's no difference between the two, because everything comes from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. When a person comes to that level of emun and bitachon on Purim, there's no differentiation, because everybody knows everything is from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the real Levasumim. So we see that Purim is a day, it looks like it's this day of feasting and packages and okay, we have our mitzvahs. But really the power of Purim is so much deeper than that. So it's really that before we get to Purim, it's not just preparing all the regular mitzvahs that we do. How are we going to prepare ourselves to be ready for that Kedusha and Eis Rotzain when it comes? And that's one of the beauties that we have. We have 3 weeks to Purim. We have a time to prepare ourselves now to be ready to that elevated level of Kedusha and davening and Eis Rotzain. So it's my tefillah that we should all be zeicha, that now we should prepare ourselves to Purim, plan out our Purim properly, so that we can come and really gain from Purim those beautiful levels of emunah and bitachon, that very special time of davening and the very special kedusha that Kadosh Baruch Hu infused in this day. May we be zeicha to v'nahapaychu, that just like there was a v'nahapaychu with HaAm, may we be zeicha to see the v'nahapaychu now in our days, where everything's going to turn out for the best, that Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to send the Yeshua. We're going to finally be to defeat our enemies. Our chatufim will come home in Mitzvah Hashem. May we be zeicha to see the Geula Shema.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Frimet. So can you give us maybe just a little bit of a taste in terms of the costumes? What does it say about it? Like,
Okay,
because I know.
So okay, there's different customs about the costumes, but really the costume has to be something that is a theme of Torah. And because of the kedusha of the day.
Why is
right?
that?
Okay, well, okay, because we have such a high level of kedusha of the day, right? So it's only fitting that whatever tachposet, whatever costume a person takes, that it's going to have an elevated level of kedusha. So, I mean, that everybody gives a thought to, right? And it's also part of chinuch for the kids. What are we teaching the kids when we dress them up for Purim? What are they aspiring to? So the type of costume that we give our kids has to have a level of kedusha to it. And if it's not a character in the Megillah, it could be any other part of Torah, right? So long as the child is taught that it's such an elevated yontif that you want to dress up as something that is very highly, that's very holy. Did that answer your question, Karen?
It does, but what if like little kids are not wearing things that are holy? You know what I'm saying? They're wearing animals, they're wearing like.
Well, again, it depends on where you're coming from. But you're right. Where I'm coming from, that was the custom, that it always had to be a level of kedusha.
So I remember learning that it's like nichnas yain yotze sod, right? That there's a concept on Purim that that's what we drink wine, is that the deeper aspects of oneself comes out, right? That's what the gematria of yain is. Sod is like the secret. And one of the things that we do on Purim is that we act as if, right? Like it's not really us, because the whole inyan of the v'nahafochu, that everything was turned upside down. And really, in essence, even though a person is appearing a certain way, right? There's still sod, there's still more inside of them. So I know, especially even when adults, you see sometimes how even, the dress, it's not really who they are. It's like the whole thing is the nafuch. It's like the exact opposite of, who the person really is, and it's in order to bring simcha. Because I spoke about this concept in Adar that the kuf is symbolic, letter kuf, and the animal kuf is symbolic of Adar. And the reason why is because he brings laughter, because it's like contradictory to like what you would expect. Like you wouldn't expect the kuf to act like a human, right? All the things that he does. And it's just funny. And even anything that we see that's contradictory, that's not like we thought it would be, that brings you to tzchok, it brings you to laughter. And that's also the concept, the juxtaposition of things, right? Or the contradiction of things, of what really was supposed to be, because that was how the nest came about. And also, if we look at the Megillah, right? Hashem's name is not there. All the Hester Panim, even Esther's name, that it doesn't seem like it's what it is. It's Hester. It's hidden. It's not really as it appears. And I think this concept also is with the costumes, that it's like you're laughing because it's not like you don't expect to see a man who's learning yeshiva to be dressed up as, I don't know, you wouldn't dress up as Mickey Mouse, but even as a chassid, if he's an Ashkenaz, a regular Litvak, or if he's dressed up as a Tzioni, right? Or it's like the opposite of what you would expect. And I think that brings tzchok, and that brings us to see the true person. I remember when I was in seminary, one of my rebbeim got drunk. He did not stop giving out brachos. Like that's who he was. He was just a big anav. Usually he was very quiet. And on Purim, he's very giddy, and he was so besimcha, and he just kept giving brachos to everybody he would see and hug them and kiss them. So one of my rebbeim, actually it's written in a book, his sister miscarried many, many times. She couldn't have children. And on Purim, he was crying and crying. And he gave her like the biggest bracha, that Bezat Hashem should be zochet to have children, healthy children, and giving her more and more like brachas, because he always davened for her with such heart. And Baruch Hashem, she was zochet to have a healthy child. And so we see this tremendous koach on Purim also, to give brachos and to receive brachos. And so this is what, through the koach of the Nichnas Yain Yotze Sod. So I'm thinking it's probably also in relation to costumes, because it's not the real deal. It's not who you really think it is. And you see that it's tremendous simcha, tremendous koach of Torah. We hear like the divrei Torah that they speak, right? Is much more, it's like in depth with simcha, hugging people, laughing, making, not making jokes only, but just like doing it b'simcha, even the Torah that's said over. I remember last year I went to one of my son's rebbeim, could not stop praising him and telling me how special he is, and he was hugging him and kissing him and telling him to be good, and it was just like very, very special for my son, for me to see this. And here he's in his 20s, he's not a little kid. So Purim has this tremendous koach to allow the things to be flipped around, that whatever we think, right, is going to be is really the opposite, and that the true essence of the person is coming out. And that's why it has a koach also of to be mevarech, to bless others, and to daven, just like Esther, that Esther went in. By the way, there's an inyan to say Perek Chaf Bet, the whole Adar, because that's the parak that Esther is all about. Esther approaching Achashverosh without permission, and Baruch Hashem, nothing happened to her, right? She was saved, and that whole parak is really the relationship of us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a very special parak, and how Hashem saves us, and we have to daven, we have to believe, we have to hold on, we have to have bitachon. Maybe we'll have a shir on Perek Chaf Bet. I think it's a beautiful parak. So I encourage you also to take this time to say Perek Chaf Bet, and to try to say Kavanah, try to learn a little bit with English if you can. And maybe in that zchut of a tefillah, so I was saying that on Purim is a koach of tefillah. It starts Ta'anit Esther, which is a big day, because we know that Esther was saved, and the zchut of us fasting and davening. That's what Mordechai told everyone to do, right? And so we have that koach of tefillah, especially on Purim, to be la'afoch et hamazal, to change one's mazal. That if somebody needs a shidduch and is looking for many years, that's the day to daven. There's a lot of groups that get together and they daven for each other. They give each other names. and they daven for each other. I know they try to get 40 people, and it ends up being like over 100 people in one of my groups that I was doing. So this is also the koach of Purim, which I'm hinting to what it is, because Purim is similar to Yom Kippurim, but really it's the opposite. Purim, like Purim, that means Yom Kippur is like Purim, except that on Yom Kippur we don't eat and we don't drink and we act as malachim. On Purim we act with our physical selves. That we actually, through the physical, we're elevating the physical to such a higher realm of ruchnius, more than Purim. Because Ke Purim means it's like Purim. That means Purim has a higher level. So we're able to achieve that tremendous level of Kedusha through the means of the physical, which is exactly opposite of what Christians believe, that we should abstain from the physical, right? We should abstain from things that are going to cause us to be frivolous, like wine, right? And too much food and not getting married. And us Jews believe the opposite. We elevate. We're ma'ale b'kedusha, right? We're elevating the level of kedusha of ourselves through the physical. And Mizrat Hashem, and that's chut on that day when we elevate the physical to a higher realm of ruchnius, will be zochah to many, many yeshuot, because on that day it says the Jewish people receive what they had already received. They already received the Torah, and here they were receiving it, like they were receiving it again, because now they established a higher level of avoda with Hashem, a higher level through tshuva, coming back, understanding what they did wrong with the party, through Mordechai and Esther, who were their leaders. And it was through the actual physical self, the physical body, that were elevated on a higher realm. And that's why Purim is a very, very high level, even more so than on Yom Kippur. So we have to take advantage of that day to be b'simcha, to perform the mitzvot of the Chag, to drink a little bit. Women, it's not nahug that women get drunk because it's not sanua, it's not so modest, because they might do things that are frivolous or not nice. So we don't get drunk, but you can drink. You can drink that makes you happy, right? It says yain yisamach levav enosh. We can drink wine and be happy and rejoice. And of course, the performance of the mitzvot to unite us, the matanot le'evyonim, and the tzedakah to, the mishloach manot, that we give gifts, right? We give food. And I don't like that people give junk. This is the new thing. People go to the store and they buy 10 boxes of candy, another boxes of chocolate and cakes. And really the inyan is to give real food, homemade food, for those who might not have food on Purim, because there's an inyan also to have a seudah. So we try to give those people who don't have, right? Or even people who do have, we want to share. We want to give of ourselves. We want to share in the mitzvah of the food of Purim. So people will make challahs, people will make hugels and barekas and things like that. That we're actually giving out real food. And even for the poor person, the evyonim, you have to give them enough money that they should go buy themselves a meal, like a bagel and a coffee, right? Even the most minimal thing, they should give them enough to be able to do that. Okay, we'll talk more Bezrat Hashem about Purim. Any questions or comments from anyone? Frimet's still here. Anyone have any question or comment? Okay.
I wanted to thank you. Thanks, Frimet. Thanks, Karen, for arranging everything today.
Thank you so much. I'm going to try to see if I could find a song. I like to put on a song to get us into a positive, happy mood. Oh, I want to mention next Motzei Shabbat, this coming Motzei Shabbat, Parsha Vayakhel. Those of you who are in Eretz Yisrael are all invited to our party. It's going to a Geula embodiment with Rudan, song, and meditation. It's going to be so incredible. And Bezrat Hashem, we're doing it as a zchut for the chatufim, for the captives, and we're asking everyone globally to do this as well, to gather together either Rosh Chodesh or in the next couple of weeks with some women, put on some music, and through music, through song and dance and rejoicing, we bring about Yeshuot. It says, Ki b'simcha tetzeun, with simcha you will leave, you will go out. So we daven that HaKadosh Baruch Hu help to take us out with our simcha. So we're going to be dancing just like they had the tambourine dance with Chayasar singer. We're dancing in simcha, the Be'ezrat Hashem, our soldiers, our Be'ezrat Hashem coming out very, very soon.
Amen.
And our captives will be saved home safe and sound. May we be zochet yeshuot, b'sorot tovot. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for being here. If you're not part of my group, feel free to text me or email me. I'll send it here in the chat, and you can join our Living Inspired group. I just want to say thank you for all those who are here. Pamela, Rachel, Susan. I think there was Aliza was on. Thank you, Frimet, for inspiring us today. And here, I'm just going to put my number in the chat. I don't know if anybody here is still, there was somebody else, I think, on before I got off. But if anybody wants to reach me, it's Neshe Lev HaAm @gmail.com. And my phone number, I'll add the area code for the state. Feel free to reach out to me, and I will put you on the group so you can see for your upcoming events. Today we had an amazing creative art flow workshop, beautiful art in honor of the Simcha of Adar. You had to think about something that made you besimcha in your life and how you felt and what inspired you, and then go into the artwork. And it was really beautiful. Some of the art, if you're on my Living Inspired, check it out. I posted some of those paintings. Okay, מי שנכנס אדר מרבים בשמחה, בשורות טובות, ישועות, נחמות, כל עמך ישראל. I'm going to share with you a clip right now. Get up and dance, ladies. Let's go. Adar is here. Okay, I'm going to share with you the link. Those of you want to have it on every day, so you can rejoice and be in the Purim spirit. I'll share the link with you if you can copy it from the chat, but I think that put us in a nice Purim mode, which is coming up. Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet is coming up this Motzei Shabbos, and Sunday, Monday is going to be Rosh Chodesh. So let's put on the music, get our kids dancing, singing, and be with Simcha. At what time? Motzei Shabbos, 8:30. I'm going to be posting the flyer tonight. You'll see it soon. Thanks for asking, Rachel. It's going to be by Dina's house. You don't have to go walk so far. Looking forward to seeing you guys, and those of you who are not with us. I want to hear you making your own party. Let's go. Get your friends together. We can give you the song list. I can even share my flyer. You can change it with your location. So be in touch with me if you're interested in making a party, and we'll send you everything that you need. And all those watching the recording, you too. בעזרת השם שתהיה פורים שמח, אדר שמח, מי שנכנס אדר ב', בעזרת השם מרבים בשמחה, more simcha, more Yeshua for Am Yisrael, בשורות טובות. Thank you, Frimet. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you all those who joined. Have an amazing day or night.